Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Churchill Mark III. It's part of the Lend-Lease Churchills that were sent over to Russia, to the Soviet Union. And this one's located on the south spawn of Steps Encounter and is under the command of Squirrlynuts. Now, if you're wondering why this video looks so different, yes, this is a replay from 2017, October 2017 to be precise. And well, this Churchill is still in the game. It's the first one listed in the wiki. It's part of 301 Churchills that were actually sent to the Soviet Union. Some of them were lost in some of the convoys, the ships were sunk, and of course there's the famous PQ-17 convoy, which went to Russia as well. The Russians were grateful for any tanks that they received from anyone else because they were losing them so quickly. But the Churchill tanks are actually very good, the ones that they received. And although mechanically quite complicated, they did have a good, reliable 6-pounder gun with 75 alpha and a fast fire rate as well, 1.75 seconds I think it is, or 2 seconds per shot. And that means you can pump out the rounds on the enemy really quickly. And that makes a huge difference. Now, as you're noticing, it's the old maps, the SD maps as they might say, so slightly different now on Steps. Well, quite a lot different actually if you think about it. And he's trying to get a good position so he can shoot at the enemy, and he's found a Crusader, but he's popped behind that cover there. Now, one of the great things about the Churchill is that the actual hitbox is very narrow. As you can see, it's mostly tracks either side, and those tracks are absolutely enormous, which means that it's very difficult to get shots on the hitbox to actually damage the crew. But it's fairly easy to actually hit the tracks, and of course the tracks, well, you can see that it's quite a complicated suspension system. In fact, very complicated indeed, with all those road wheels, masses of them. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, the Churchill, it's not a very good tank because it's so complicated. But actually, it was very good in the sense that it would take a lot of battle damage and keep working. Of course, it didn't come up too well whenever it faced something like a Tiger. And of course, in the instant, the famous instant where Tiger 131 was captured, it was Churchill tanks that it was up against. And although the Churchills claimed that they were the ones who got the shot which disabled it, I don't think they did. Okay, well, we took a round there from the VK3001K, but and just from the Arty as well. It looks like that was a direct hit from the M41, but we did get the first kill against our name, and that was the KV1. Oh no, VK3001H. Sorry, what am I saying? Well, it means we've won this corner for the moment. Just got to clean up what enemy are left, but the enemy do have possession of the cap area at the moment, and it is an encounter game, and that's important to note because in encounter battles, it's control of the cap really that makes all the difference. It doesn't really matter if you kill all the enemy. What matters is who actually captures the cap. I've seen numerous battles where virtually the entire enemy team were wiped out by a couple of tanks who actually went to the cap and started capping early on in the game, but the enemy was so intent on killing all of their team, they spent too much time away from the cap, and by the time it came for them suddenly to realise that, oh my god, we're about to lose this if we don't get to the cap in time, and they just couldn't get to it. It's just too late. Okay, he's spotted that M41, fires one round in, gets a hit. And, oh, he's found some more enemy tanks, a medium there. It's the M4. Took a round from the M41 by shotgun. Would you believe it? He should have finished that guy off, but he didn't. But now he has. Yep, so he lost quite a lot of hit points to that M41. He was flushed out of that position by the M6, but yep, decided to carry out a shotgun on Squirrelynuts. So Squirrelynuts hasn't got a lot of hit points now, only 170 in this game. And he's now auto-aiming. Oh, kills the other Churchill III in the enemy team with one shot. Now the thing about the Churchill is that it doesn't actually have a gun mantlet as such in there. It's that's the spot to aim for if you want to kill it. And he's just taken out the T-34. Yes, so the turret doesn't have a mantlet as such. It's basically just soft, and so if you just aim for that little square in the centre, and he's auto-aiming now on a KV-1S, rapidly firing the rounds in, and he didn't get the kill. That went to the M41 HMC on our team, killed the KV-1S. And he's now spotted an Su-85 off to the north. Now the enemy stopped capping, and they've only got 3 tanks left. But as I said before, you need to be aware that if you forget about what's going on in the cap and just go for the kills, then sometimes that can bite you in the end, because you can't get to the cap in time to get a reset to win the game. Even when the enemy has very, very few tanks left, it can be fatal to forget about that cap. Well, the Su-85 is right into the east side of the map now, and he's going down that corridor. And I think he's well, he's not moving from that position at the moment, but we've lost sight of them, because now there's only Squirrelynuts and 3 Artys left on our team. They've killed all the other tanks. And as you know, Squirrelynuts hasn't got that much in the way of hit points. And there's the enemy Arty, the AMX-13 F3. He's auto-aiming on. He's missed his shot. That one didn't miss. But there's a ridgeline there which he's finding difficult to get shots over. In fact, it's being shot at from another direction. I saw a shot whiz past him, and he's auto-aiming onto that AMX-13 F3. And that's better. He's taken it off auto-aim, and now he does it manually. Much better doing it that way. And there's the Su-85. He's taking damage from the enemy Arty, and we've got the ridgeline in our favour now. One shot should be enough to take him out with a 75 hit point alpha. Where is he? Oh, he has actually been killed. The M41 HMC got him. But the VK3601H has got a lot more hit points. He's headed this way. And we now need our Arty to really help us, because if we don't get some help, he is going to kill Squirrelynuts with just 1 shot. Or 2 shots, sorry. They are putting rounds into him. They're stunning him. Yep, there's another 94 hit points. And he's picking up all the spotting assist off these. This is when it really becomes helpful to have friendly Arty, and they're marking the target. They're telling him that they're aiming for him. And they did track him, and it looks like he burned his repair kit, and now he can't untrack himself, so that's what slowed him down. And gradually, bit by bit, they are taking away all of his hit points. There goes a big one there, and yes, can they get it? This is the last kill. Yes, they got it. The M44 kills the VK3601H to win the game, and well, Squirrelynuts says lol. And in fact, actually the others were saying GG guys, nice Arty cover. Well, Arty can be the saviour after all, and Reggie likes this as well. He's singing in the background. Okay, let's have a look at the end of battle stats. It's an ace tanker for Squirrelynuts in the Churchill III. He managed to get a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills, he got 5, a fighter effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle. Because he killed 2 enemy Arty, he ends up with a Pascucci's medal as well to boot, so very well done. Let's have a look at the team score. Didn't get the highest damage in the game. No, that went rightfully to the M44. Got 1,829 hit points. Got a high caliber and Confederate from that game. And, well, squirrlynuts did pick up the second highest damage, 1,101. And after that, it was the KV-1S on the enemy team with 1,087. When it came to kills, though, it was squirrlynuts with 5 kills, 1/3 of the enemy team. 3 kills to the SU-85 and 2 kills to the M44, the M41 HMC and the M6 and the KV-1S Churchill III on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, it was squirrlynuts with 1459. Excuse me. He was the only player to get over 1,000 base. The next highest scorer was the MX-13 M3 with 694 and then the M44 with 690. And of course their M41 also got 544. I think they were enjoying themselves towards the end because it was basically who can track him and who can get the most damage out of him. That last enemy tank. 29 shots fired, 21 direct hits and 16 penetrations, damage of 1,101 hit points, of which 509 were at more than 300 meters. He received 2 hits from the enemy, both were penetrations, I'm afraid, and 1 hit by way of splash damage. That was from the M41. In fact, he did actually get derped by that M41 as well with a shotgun. He spotted 2 enemy vehicles, damaged 6 in the enemy, killed 5, and did 1,689 hit points of spotting assist. On a free-to-play account, he earned 40,134 credits, and after repair and ammunition resupply, took away 36,450 credits. He received 1,459 base XP, times 2 for the first victory, 584 for this being a premium vehicle, took away 3,502 experience points altogether. He said it was a death by 1,000 paper cuts. Well, yes, for the enemy tanks, because the gun on this tank is so, well, excuse me, it is a fairly reliable gun, the 6-pounder. It's the sort of shell where you can just drop them into the breech and shove it home, and before you, almost as if you're picking them up with one hand and handing them over to the other, you're loading them incredibly quickly. And so, of course, this tank does come with a lot of ammunition, but it's a very relatively small shell, but it does have decent penetration because of its size, the way it's made up. And so, yes, these shells were reasonably good, which is why, of course, you found 6-pounders also on the Cromwell. And the Churchill, well, it's so long as you angle well enough so you don't get actually badly damaged, it can actually maul the enemy to death bit by bit. But what you don't want to do is, of course, be tracked and stuck there and let the enemy arty you from a long way away, because then there's nothing you can do. With such big tracks, you're more than likely going to get repeatedly tracked again and immobilized, and then, of course, they'll just tear to shreds. But very well done there to squirrlynuts for an ace tanker. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, please. And thanks for watching.